Well, I guess we're live. Welcome to another episode of Ask a Superbike Genius. And again, Richard's on, and we're going to talk about the silly season and the off season, what he's got going on, and how he's hasn't tuned up the fork seals in the chair he's sitting in. So it's kind of right.
Yeah, it's since leaked down over time, so I gotta like
Yes.
raise it back up. I don't think our budget has chairs.
Oh,
I'm gonna have
no,
to
no
go.
chair in the budget.
No,
Okay,
I'm gonna have to get a like a two by. We'll get Walker to put a two by four under this thing so it doesn't keep leaking down.
there you go.
So
There you
I'll
go. Then you'll
slowly
have
be going lower,
like a
and lower and
folded
lower.
piece of cardboard on one side,
Yeah, well,
right?
that's because one of the wheels is missing. That's how our budget is this year.
Wow, the dirt bikes get everything. Huh.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. Yeah, so it's been a while since we've done a test. The season ended, and we had a test like a couple weeks ago, um, and
The
you brought
election
on
ended.
yeah, the election ended,
Yeah,
uh, right?
my guy won.
Yeah, and
Until Rockwell broke.
right, that those people got fired. It's cool. Um,
Whatever.
but a couple weeks ago there was a test, and you had your new rider and the return of the champ, I guess.
Jake, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Little weird seeing the 32 on the front of the bike after so long with the one.
I think it looks pretty good.
I think so too. I think so
Yeah,
too.
yeah. One's a lonely number.
Biggest target on the back too, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then the number 50, Bobby Fong came out. And then a couple of things, those R9s were out. The Strat guys came out with Skoltz and
Did they
Blake.
announce
And
that? They did. They did announce it, didn't they?
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
that's right. They did. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So it was Stoltz and it was Blake Davis,
Mhm.
Strack boys. Yeah, they were here burning the candle at both ends,
For
trying to get
sure.
those bikes ready. I mean, the parts came so late, and I told those guys I was really fortunate to have the parts. We didn't get all the parts. Like we're still missing some stuff, but we put it together the best we can, and they went out and rode them. I guess they enjoyed them.
Yeah, I mean, they looked cool too. I mean, the front of those things looked super MotoGP looking to me. You know,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they got the little bitty winglets on them, and they got that big intake. So I guess they're going through all the homologation process. I don't think everything's homologated on those bikes yet, but I
okay,
do believe they're going through that process now, and I do believe I'm confident it's going to end up the way it ends up. And then it should be at the end. It'll be par with the R6 and the Ducati by the time they do all the balancing stuff. It seems like it handles pretty decent.
right,
They're opening up some of the stuff this year, which will probably make some of those bikes a little bit faster.
yeah,
Meaning that they're opening up linkages, so we can homologate
mhm,
a couple of linkages. So we'll plan on doing that. They're opening up clamps, so we'll homologate our clamps for it. There's a few other little tidbits that every bike gets a little something different when it comes to homologation. Make them all kind of run the same, so it's a rider's class
kind of
more
like
than
a
the.
miniature superbike almost.
Nah, I don't
Yeah,
know. It's NASCAR on two wheels. I don't know. It's a spec bike,
NASCAR on two wheels.
basically. But the difference is it's not like NASCAR where NASCAR is one chassis, one body, and everybody gets put their paint job on it.
Right,
It's more like every bike gets a spec, and you have to stick with a spec, and then the series or FIM or MotorMech gets control how much power and torque the bike produces, so it'll make it equal to the one of a size racing in the same class.
right,
Because before you had the R6, which is still kind of the base. It's like it's the base of where everyone kind of tries to shoot for the performance.
right.
And then so you could dumb down the Ducati, you dumb down the Suzuki, and now you're dumbing down the R9 to get it to perform like the R6, let's say.
Right.
Because all of them, because they're larger CCs, are more capable, whether it's torque or horsepower or whatever the case may
Right.
be. Some of them make more torque, less horsepower. Some of them they spin less. Some of them spin more, make more horsepower, less torque. Like the R6, obviously was spinning like 16,200, I do believe, was the maximum.
Yeah.
And those things make in the mid 130s.
Okay.
So those things like 135, 136, I think is about the average on those, like a World Super Sport type bike. In World Super Sport, they have a little more better fuel, so
Right.
they can get away with a little more compression. They end up closer to their dynos anyway, like 138,
Well,
139.
those R9s have a pretty unique sound, and I went down. I was on the inside at turn one as those guys were exiting, and man, it looked like both those bikes looked like they just jumped off the corner. I was like, "Wow, dude, these things are going pretty good." Like, both riders complained a little bit about the thing spinning up the rear, I guess, a little bit. But I mean, also the bikes are so early, they're and both guys never been there before, never been on that bike
Yeah,
before. So
yeah, they might be parking it. I know the track lost some grip from last year.
okay.
So talking to John, the track manager, he said the bikes are about a half second slower than they were last year. I don't know if that's the case. It seemed like with our bikes we got back to where we were,
Right.
pretty close to it, like about the same.
Yeah, a couple tenths.
Yeah, a couple tenths off of best. So but we made some improvements on the bike too. So it's hard to judge. I think Motor America is supposed to have an official test there.
Right.
And so I think it'd be easier for us to judge at that point after a couple day test with the Motor America, whoever shows up. Hopefully everybody shows up. I know it's a haul for them to come to Arizona, but I think it'll be interesting to square up against some of our competitors with both the R9s for the track guys and also our R1s with all the changes we've been making.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. During the test, we run my lap live timing, and we knew that people would be looking at the live timing, so we just named the number. Only Jake got to be somebody, and then the other guys were 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah. So number one was Matt.
Yeah.
Because that is his number now, right? 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number 2 was
Blake.
Davis. Blake, yeah, because his number's 22, right? And number 3 was Fong. So we figured we won't put a 5 in there because they might figure it out.
Right. People seem to figure it out anyway, but
well, I mean, riders talk. Yeah, riders talk with each other, and mechanics talk, and pretty soon it gets around pretty quick.
Yeah, it's the sewing circle, so to speak, right?
Yeah, it's a small knit group, and they're all knitting.
Yeah. Cody Krager wants to know, was there one thing in particular that stood out about the R9? Was it corner exit, corner speed, anything like that?
Just looks like a modern bike with the bodywork the way it is, and the big intake, which is still to be homologated, but they basically have an intake kit which pressurizes the airbox. I wasn't working with those guys clearly, but they both seem to be pretty happy with it. I think there's some, like you said, they were complaining about the thing spinning up on the corner exit. Then there's some area for improvement with swing arm slope and suspension and things like that. But they had a pretty decent crew out there working on it, So, but for a first time out, I thought it was pretty good. One thing that stood out to me is the bike seems a little bit low. I think it could be raised, the whole bike, because they were dragging the pedals on both sides. We made some foot controls for the thing. We didn't have a chance to do a shifter, so we were running the stock shifter and it was dragging the ground. So, which was good because we had a chance to kind of look at and see how all the stuff is performing, so we can have something better for the next go around. But everything else that we made seemed to work pretty good. The guys were happy with it.
Yeah.
We didn't get all the parts for the engine, so the engine was a little bit slower than where we expect it to be once it's a fully homologated bike.
Cool.
And, I think it'll be it was respectable on the dyno, with even what was in it, but I think it'll be right there with all the rest of the guys. I'm thinking. I don't think they'll be racing at Daytona. I don't know if anybody's going to be racing at Daytona. I think it's a little too close.
Yeah.
I think it's a little too risky, honestly.
Yeah, I told the Strack dude. I told the Strack dude that you and I had that Beetlejuice conversation. Right? Like I made you say the words, we're not going to Daytona 3 times, and it made it.
Yeah, basically. We're not going to Daytona. We have a lot of work to do on the Superbike. So we no mystery. We struggled with both rider health and some of the areas on the bike as far as corner entry with the rear tire, one of the harder tires, and the tracks that require harder tires made it a little more difficult on a bike compared to when we were running bumpy tracks that had a lot of cracks in it. And soft tires that seemed to work better for us than this past season. So we went to this test with the idea of just working on harder tires.
I mean, the one thing I did notice about the bikes this particular weekend anyway is that you brought those wings. So you want to talk a little bit about that, like?
Yeah.
You don't just glue those things on and hope it works out?
Almost. So we, you have to reinforce the bodywork to take it because it has some downforce on it. So imagine sticking your arm out the window of a car going 190 miles an hour. So you can imagine what the resistance is like. At the end, it was the same as what the World Superbike team had. We sent them our report, and it was the same as what they had, which was it offered some less anti-wheelie, so it reduced some of the power cut for acceleration. So in third gear, I think we had a little bit less anti-wheelie, so that helped in that area with some downforce, and it also helped. You know how when you rode there last, the other direction you said?
Yeah, I rode both directions this past weekend.
Okay, so if you go counterclockwise, you go on that fast sweeper. What is that, 12? Or what is that corner?
I don't remember what it's called.
10 something. Sweeper. The big sweeper. So when you go through that corner there, you dip in about 130K and accelerate out to about 160K. And so that area offered more support on the front tire, let's just say more confidence on the front.
Yeah.
And also Bobby commented that it offered, and Jake had pretty much the same comment, was that it offered more stability in the braking zone. So when you went to the brakes.
Yeah. I was just going to say, Bobby told me those exact words.
Yeah.
Like, dude,
so
it keeps the front wheel down on the straightaway. So your guys are going faster than you were before. And then under braking, it provides a little more stability. That's what he said.
There was no real difference as far as straightaway speeds.
Yeah.
But we did have better acceleration coming off of the final turn, which had a little bit of a little less wheelie cut, let's say.
Okay.
So you're able to maybe, if you're behind someone, you can suck up behind them a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And draft down the straightaway. And then again, with the stability on the brakes, you more confidence on the brakes.
Yeah.
So we're going like about 290 something going down the straightaway, 290K. So I don't know what that is, 180 miles an hour or so.
Yeah.
So to go down to first gear off 6 like that, it's good to have a little bit of stability, give you that confidence to pull the lever hard.
So, now that you have Bobby on the team, you want to talk a little bit about your methodology with working with a new guy again? Is there something special that you do, sprinkle the secret sauce, whatever? Because, all the riders, this shit's all mental, right? So, like, how do you make that connection with the rider, build the trust, whatever?
Yeah, riders are surprisingly pretty fragile mentally. If they need, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, they all come off super strong, but at the end, they're all they need that support system to make them push as hard as they do. So when you've been around this business long enough and you've won a bunch of races, championships, whatever, as a team, you already start with a certain level of respect.
Okay.
So it doesn't require very much to get respect initially, anyway. But it's super easy to lose that respect if you don't do things right, especially the first go around.
Right.
And so you need a bike that's performing. You need a bike that isn't having a bunch of problems. You need to have a team that's functioning well. And I think we were there on all those targets. And you also need a test plan. So we never go to the racetrack without a test plan. You don't just go there and go, ride around and we'll figure out, click in, that didn't work, or click out, that was better. Okay, I'll put that in my notes. What do you think I should try next? And the rider's looking at you, aren't you the boss? You go there with a test plan. So our plan for this particular event was corner entry. So we worked on not turning, not this, not that. You don't want to go and get down a rabbit hole with some of the things the riders might say. Okay, we went there with this. We started off with the setup we had last at Buttonwillow, and then we went with our New Jersey setup, which we thought was an improvement. And then he tried that, and he went 6/10 faster, let's say, with a New Jersey setup. Right. And then we tried a pivot change, and then we tried a top out spring change, and we tried a different linkage. So we went down the list, and we made notes on what was better and what was worse and what was more comfortable and what are the side effects. You could go fast on just about any of this stuff, but what are the side effects? You'd have a comment like, yeah, this thing, it got in the corner good, but it felt really heavy in the S's, because that track, it has a series of different things. It has the S's, it's got a sweeper, it's got a hard braking zone, it's got some little flip-flops, like sweeping turns, and so it has the same kind of surface we have at all the other racetracks. So, and then now it's built a few bumps too because of the cars and the heat out there in Arizona.
Yeah.
And the weather was freaking perfect, wasn't it?
Oh, dude, it was like 75, something like that.
Yeah, it was t-shirts.
Pretty chilly in the morning, though.
Yeah, you had to have a jacket in the morning. Yeah, it was. Anyway, so you work through that. It's pretty easy to start with a level of confidence on this team anyway, because the riders kind of expect that when they come to the team. It's just that you need to be able to meet the challenge of that. In other words, you can't show up with your bike dismantled and I still got to put a chain on it, and oh yeah, I forgot the brake pads, and you can't have any of that. You have to be ready, and then the rider has to do his job, and it makes it easier for those guys to go out and hammer. And of course, Bobby was always Mr. First Guy out, last guy in kind of thing.
Dude,
that wants to do laps.
That dude was a machine, wasn't he? I was like, wow, dude, he's really motivated.
Yeah. So that was kind of the way we functioned initially, and then you find some of the bad habits they have.
Yeah.
And you start pointing them out. One of my favorite screens is the rider screen on the data. You go, hey, what about? They're like, oh yeah, the bike. You go, well, but what about this first? Yeah, but look at this thing over here you're doing. So
right.
Then, can I get an overlay? And then you show them an overlay to one of the faster laps from another rider or something like that. And they go, oh, okay, yeah, you're doing this over here, and this is going to cause you problems in the future.
Yeah.
And you try to improve their riding because you want the most out of them by the time they get to the races.
Well, I noticed one thing because I got to sit in on some of your rider debrief sessions, and one of the things I noticed is that you and Marshall basically drilled Bobby for however long and asked him questions based on his answers. You guys go to the squiggly line thing, make some changes to the bike, and send him back out. And the funny thing is, like, this is what I thought was funny, is like he came in and he had the same exact complaints as he did the last session, but he came in and he was 7/10 quicker.
Well,
it's like magic.
Yeah, the riders complain no matter what.
Yeah,
because they can always go faster, right? And just about the lap time. There's no perfect motorcycle. You can be a track record and go, yeah, I could go still a little bit faster. There's no good enough.
Right.
Yeah. So you're always gonna. It's just where is that line? So you can push the line further forward, and they'll get to it, and they push it a little further forward, and they'll get to it, and they may fall down at some point. Right. Because they're pushing too hard. One of the biggest things I think Bobby had one of the biggest culture shocks was he said, you rode the Yamaha last year, the ADR bike. It was a good motorcycle, but the brakes that we have are so much more powerful than what they were running last year.
Oh, okay.
That he had a hard time adjusting to it. And then we went to a new pad, and it was like, wow, this is way too much stopping power. Yeah, so he almost wanted the old, like the used pads back in there. So it'll take him. It was the same thing for Jake when we first got those calipers at Road America, and he said, you know what, I'm going to run the old calipers this weekend and start with the new calipers next weekend. Start on the Wednesday, on the Friday, and work my way through the weekend with them because it's going to take me too long to figure it out. And
he'll get there.
Yeah, it's different when you have all that stopping power. Basically, it's the World Superbike pads with the boosters we talked about before, where you have those ramps on it. It's basically power brakes,
right?
And it just keeps wedging the pads tighter and tighter on the rotor, and so you don't have to pull the lever very hard to get the thing to do the initial. It's pretty bitey, and you have to have suspension set up for it. So I don't think Bobby was mentally ready for those brakes.
Well, I guess he will be next time, right? Now he knows.
Yeah, and it was good to see Jake also. I know we're talking about Bobby a lot because he's a new shiny object.
He's a new guy, shiny new toy.
Yeah, shiny new toy. Yeah, until he's not. And so anyway, it was definitely good to see Jake back on the bike, and he looked like he was raring to go, like he really wanted to ride.
Yeah. He also, he spent a lot of laps, and he was being super smart about it. Like he wasn't full send automatically. Like I've seen him for years, right? And it just didn't quite look like he was giving it all yet.
Yeah,
But then in the end, he was like creeping up, and every session he got a
yeah,
little bit quicker. And if I'm not mistaken, he ended up within a couple of tenths of Bobby. So
yeah, yeah. At the end, he did put in a couple good laps. He was just incrementally going faster, and I think
yeah,
he wanted to go ride more because he asked me the next day. It's like, hey, can we like when do we start? I go 10 o'clock, and normally that track is pretty cold in the morning.
yeah,
But we were getting some good weather, so I think we could have started at 9.
yeah. Okay,
But usually, the high desert, it's super cold in the morning, and then when the
right,
sun comes up, it's nice. And in the summer, when the sun comes up, you're fried.
right.
Yeah. But during the winter, if the sun comes up, it just turns nice. But it's super
Yeah,
cold in the morning, it's like frozen. So we asked the ambulance to be there at 10, and I was joking around. I said, "You can start at 9." I go, "But if you fall down, Bobby's going to have to give you mouth-to-mouth resuscitation because there won't be any ambulance." And Bobby's like, "I'm out. I'm not riding."
right, right. Yeah. The Podium Club racetrack's been pretty good for the team, yeah? I mean, seems like
Yeah,
they're really
no,
motivated to get out there. They're doing a bunch of garages and stuff. I guess there's like 40 something of those things going up right now. So,
yeah, but their plan is to bring the nationals there. So I
yeah.
think that's why we're testing this year. I mean, it's not on schedule this year, but maybe next year. They don't have any infrastructure, so they have to build some infrastructure, and they're going to put in a couple more timing loops, to get the splits.
The
That'll
section.
be nice.
Yeah.
The sector splits. So by the time Motormech comes around, they'll have the sector splits in there, and they'll
Oh,
have a bunch of those member garages up. And it looks like they're pushing back the paddock, making it a little bigger.
yeah.
Also, putting a road back there. So I think they're
Yeah.
they're, they're building it. It's been a decent track for us as far as testing goes, and those, John and those guys there that work it, they're they're more than hospitable.
Yeah. I mean, just running the timing, I saw John there during that test, and I asked him if he could open up the books and, you know, see what the dates are looking like, and I walked away from the test with 2 track days weekends there for next year, so that was pretty sweet.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we were seeing if he'd open up the books and cut us a check so I can get a new
Oh, well,
chair.
that'd be nice too. That would be
Yeah,
nice too. Yeah.
the one that
I don't
doesn't
know
leak.
about all that. I mean, they're giving us the track for free, so I'm not gonna
You're not supposed to say that. It's a secret agreement we have, secret double handshake agreement.
Okay, it's a double secret that the track takes care of the team.
Yeah, well, I mean, we do have the logo on the bike.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is our official test track now.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a membership thing too, and I guess they're
Yeah,
getting pretty aggressive with that. And I was walking around over the weekend and people were talking about how people can actually finance their membership like with a monthly fee and stuff. So like you buy a membership and like there's people that go to the track like every day. It's crazy. Like, dude,
yeah.
don't you guys
Wow.
have to work?
Well, those guys, nobody showed up on that Wednesday. Was it a member day or was it not a member day?
I
Because
think
normally we're there on Tuesday, and then on the Wednesday, usually you get some few guys come by with cars, and it looks like they drove them from home.
right,
Like a guy with a GT3 will show up with his license
right,
plates and stuff. They go
right.
on the racetrack for a couple hours, and he'll drive away.
Or that like little, I don't know what to call it, but it's like a little closed wheel midget car thing with like a motorcycle engine in it. That little car kind of rips around. It's a little bit smaller
Yeah,
than a Miata.
yeah. I don't know what they call those things either. I
Yeah,
used to remember what they call those things, but yeah,
midget.
yeah. No, a midget is more like a dirt track car.
Right. Yeah, so there's a little bit of that going on. And, just like I went out there last weekend for my birthday. Like I drove all the way out there. Chris and I went out there on these stalkers and just went out and just beat up tires and burned up gas for 2 days. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, that's fun.
Anthony Miller says, we just came back from testing there on the baggers. Nice track, and the facility is certainly progressing. Yeah, man. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, every rider that I've seen there likes the racetrack.
Yeah.
The only comment I asked the guys, Track and Davis, who haven't either been there, I mean, not Track, but Matt Skoltz, and they both liked it. Only Davis said it was a little bit bumpy, which I was surprised. I think that's why it's about a half second off.
Okay.
Which is it's encouraging if the track is half second off, because we were actually a bit faster than we were before.
Huh.
That means we made some improvements on the same rubber.
Right.
But you know, I think bumpy's okay too, because it gives us a chance to try a few more things. It's not a big deal. Every track got some bumps in it.
Right. And then the crew member on this team, ED, wants to know if there's going to be any ECU restriction on the R9 like there is for the 750 and the V2.
I don't know. I think that's something that the World Superbike, YRE, which is Yamaha Racing Europe, I think that's something they'll work out with FIM, and I believe they'll probably start with the same, since the bike's basically going to be the same as what they run in World Supersport. So I imagine by testing, those guys will probably have an official test. Again, I'm assuming all this stuff, but I'm pretty certain is the way it'll work. Is they'll have an official test. The guys in FIM will grab the data and look at it and go, "Yep, you're good," or "You need to dumb this down a little bit to make it the same as the other guys." And that's probably the map that the Strack guys will start with. Strack, Altus, Hayes, whoever's riding these things. I heard from
Hayes is going to ride an R9, huh?
I heard it around the neighborhood. I can't remember who told me, but they said something about Hayes and what's his name? Bryce Prince, BPR.
Yeah,
right? Something of that nature.
I heard Rocco's going to ride one, but then I also heard Rocco's going to be on a Honda.
No, I thought Rocco was going to ride for Terry Vance. But I'm not sure if that happened or not. I don't know. But I didn't hear anything about Rockwell on R9, because I know that Altus wants to have a couple out there. I don't think they've announced yet, but I heard they're going to do a split deal with Yamahas and Suzuki's.
Oh, okay.
So one team, two different brands, but I mean, they may announce that again. All stuff around the top around the fireplace with a trash can with burnt newspapers. I don't know. Depends where you live.
Trash can with burnt newspapers.
Okay. Like Mad Max style.
Right. So do you want to share a little bit about you were talking earlier about working with a new rider and finding out some of their bad habits? Like, is there anything you'd like to share so I can give Bobby shit when I have him on the show on Friday?
His braking was interesting, and it may be that he's just still building confidence in the bike.
Okay.
I mean, tipped over the first day, like in second session, so maybe that dumbed down his initial braking a little bit. His initial braking was a little bit soft, and then he would progress into it stronger and stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
Which I was trying to explain to him that there's only a certain amount of friction the front tire can give you. And so you can use all the friction when you're braking in line. As you tip over, you need to, as you turn in, you got to start releasing the brake. You can't keep adding pressure.
That sounds like something from the Yamaha school with their 100 points of grip thing.
But that's true. Yeah,
you can't have 100 points of grip for braking and expect to turn, right?
Yeah,
you give away some of those braking points so you could have turning points, right?
Yeah, in engineering they call that a force vector.
Yeah.
So basically you point the forces where you want it. So if you want all your force acting, because coefficient of friction, force, mass, blah blah blah. You can break it in line. You can use all the force the tire will give you. You start to turn, you're going to have to take that force vector is going to have to change. It's got to point you towards the corners. That means that it can't do as much slowing down.
Yeah.
So Bobby, at least this test, he has a tendency to pull the lever and keep increasing pressure. But I think as the test went on, he was starting to apply a little more initial braking as well. But
he was doing something I'm not used to seeing any rider on this team do. Barking the tire, backing it in everywhere.
Yeah, that was part of our test plan. Okay. So like you said earlier, Marshall and I talked to him, and then we go back, make changes, he rides it. We're not addressing his complaints necessarily. We're going down a test plan,
Okay.
and we'll talk about, we'll take his information, and then we'll look at the data, make sure his information's accurate, and then we'll write it down or type it in, and go down the test plan. Go, okay, next item,
Okay.
next item, next item. That's the way a test works. And then
Yeah.
you put that all together when you get back to the shop, and you come up with a new test plan for the next time. You may have a new linkage, you may have a new swing arm, you may have a new steering head angle, you may have a new fork setting, whatever the case may be. We're focusing on chassis right now, and
Okay.
then in February we'll probably start focusing more engine related stuff.
Wow.
So barking the tire was one of the settings that Marshall was going through to see if how much rear engine braking could put in the thing and still keep it in line going to the corner.
Okay.
But yeah, it was tweeting along pretty good going to the corner.
It was pretty spectacular to watch too.
He wasn't using any rear brake either, so it was just all.
Oh no, he's back shift and the things. Oh, okay.
Well, he's going from sixth to first, and we may have to change the clutch or work on his riding a bit, because he was, which I normally like. I like a guy who's a rider who's shifting very quickly in the initial part of the braking zone, so you can get the engine braking do its thing. But he could take probably a half a tenth breather before he starts making all the back shifts. In other words, as soon as he chops, if he starts going back, he'd over rev the engine a few times on the back shift. So we can fix that with a slippier clutch, so it won't ever allow it to get there.
Right.
So that's something that we may work into because of the way he brakes and the way he slows down in the back shifts. We may be able to put a different clutch in it for this next go around. So we see that in the data, and test plan for next test January, possibly different back torque limiting clutch.
So that's sort of like bringing a new guy in is like a two-way street of it, because somewhat you guys get to know the rider and kind of bring the bike to him, and then the rider's got to come to the bike a little bit as well. Right?
Yeah. If a rider rides one way all the time, he's only going to go so fast.
Right.
So as things progress, as car technology progresses, you can see it in MotoGP and World Superbike, everybody changes their riding style. The leg hang off thing, which a lot of guys here don't do, that's there for a reason. It isn't just some technique. They're not just something, or showing off
for the gram.
No, there's a reason for that. It has to do with the balance of the bike and the drag and where they put the center of gravity with their leg, because it's a pretty good match. And I was explaining that to Bobby too. I mean, getting a guy's been racing as long as he has, and in his early 30s, he's been racing since I don't know when. I've known him to be racing since Chaz Davies was on our bike.
Right.
So he was racing way back when. And so it may be hard to get a guy to do some of that stuff, but you try to explain to him that some of those things are there for a reason. You do them for a reason. And if you want to excel and you want to go forward, you're going to have to start morphing into that. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck where you're stuck, and that's it. You're going to go as fast as you go. And then you're hoping for these millimeter changes on the motorcycle to affect something you can affect with large mass like your leg or your head or your shoulder, or your upper body. Such a large mass. And, do you expect us to change the motorcycle by a few millimeters this way and that way when you can change 100 millimeters of your body?
Right.
As far as mass goes. So that's some of the stuff you try to explain to the riders, and it's difficult sometimes for them to go to the next step. And it just may be impossible, but you just keep working towards it.
So do you want to share some data from that?
The braking zone thing?
Yeah. Or the mid corner?
Yeah, I can open it up. Let me put on my professor glasses here.
On.
Yeah, I got my professor glasses on. So let's see here. I got to go in this thing and share a screen, which I'm never good at. Move you around a bit.
Present.
Yes. Present a share screen. Blah, 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 share screen.
Yeah.
This one? Okay.
All right.
You see it?
Yeah, I got to kick our stupid, ugly faces off.
Yeah, get those faces off there. They're no good.
Yeah.
Yep, let me open it up a little bit.
Yeah, we're doing data. We're going full nerd, people.
Yeah, Yeah.
It's
So let me
squiggly
see
lines
here.
aplenty.
Yeah, there's a lot of squiggly lines here. I can probably turn off some of this stuff. What do I turn off? Maybe turn off rear wheel.
Because I think you said something about Bobby has a style that, I think you're
Yeah,
going to plan on working with him on that.
yeah. So let's get here. For instance, he likes the dark side of the corner, so he blocks people on the inside of the corner, and he can carry a lot of speed. Like, so so we're like by 291K or so,
Okay.
and he likes to carry a lot of speed in this part of the corner, but he parks it right at the apex.
Okay.
So these laps are pretty much okay. So so this actually I got this backwards. So this is let me zoom back out.
Oh,
So
wow.
you can see here, I don't know if you can see it. You got 57.7K versus 55.2K.
Okay.
So that is Fong. So he was doing actually pretty good here, but in some areas he was actually parking it in the middle of the corner. But this particular run, he actually did pretty good. So this is an area we worked on quite a bit.
Okay.
And if I open up, this is this is his fastest lap on a race tire, which is like a 27.7-ish.
Yeah.
27.7-ish, I think. And Peterson did a 27.3. That was his fastest run.
Right.
So this may not be a fair comparison, but if you look at one of Bobby's other runs, so if you come over here and go, let's say day one, and you go, let's put a date Fong. So you get one of these runs. You see how his braking is?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a dome.
Yeah.
So he's not, and I think this is after he tipped over. So he's not using a lot of brake pressure here, but he's applying more and more brake pressure as he gets closer to lean. And that's kind of a danger area.
Okay.
Yeah, so if we could take that and open it up, let's
So you're thinking like he needs to maybe use the brakes a little bit more on the entry?
On the initial part.
Yeah.
You can use the brakes a little more on the initial part and a little less as he's going towards lean.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So we can compare to him riding, let's say, a little bit later. So you can see where he's in the same rider, same motorcycle,
Right.
maybe different setting, but now he's using 11 bar here and not holding, like he's actually asking for more out of the front tire. So this was something we did a little more with the bike.
Okay.
But a lot of his braking, if I go through every lap, was like a dome.
Right.
We kept trying to encourage him to bring this part up.
Yeah.
And then work it down so you can get a little more out of the front tire in the initial part and not dart to the inside of the corner. It's not always the fastest way around. Try to maintain corner speed. And he's able to do it, and quite a bit. But you can see here in some areas he can slow, like in this area. He can carry more corner speed, and in some areas he doesn't. So we're just working on all those little idiosyncrasies here and there, trying to get him to be the fastest he can be with his braking, with the front tire usage and all that. So he was improving as the weekend went on, or as a couple days went on. So
cool.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything else you want to look at.
That's kind of badass. Like you guys have a serious plan that you can put together and go through it. I think that's really cool that you guys.
Well, yeah, we also have some data from last year that we compared to because we've been in that track. It's that we'll gather up some more data as we go there a couple more times and be able to do apples to apples as far as the track surface, because it does change. Racetracks do change, especially depending on how many cars you have, especially at a track that's getting beat down in the summer pretty good. They have cars on there in the summer, then it does affect the racetrack.
Yeah, I think the track pretty much closes in the summer, but I know they run in June, I think. So
Right. You know, so a place like Chuckwalla, for instance, right? So that place
Yeah.
gets pretty beat up with cars in the summer, and it gets kind of bumpy, and then they
Right.
have to repave often. But anyway, so it'll be interesting to see when we go back how it's all affected. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was definitely good to have Jake there and doing laps consistently and
Oh, 100%.
incrementally going faster, faster, faster. At the end, he was getting pretty good. He did mention that he didn't want to just go in there and just go full boogie and
Yeah.
crash himself out and go to
Go
square
backwards
one with it.
again. Yeah.
Yeah, go to square one.
Yeah. Well, there's some more questions coming in. I mean, the first
Yeah,
one is this is one I saw a news release on. I actually talked to Tony Romo after I saw that release, but R1S says, "Are you concerned about the AMA spec tires being manufactured outside the USA in the future?"
no, they were before.
Right.
I mean, we used to use UK tires
Yeah.
at the time, and we did test Japanese stuff with those guys last year.
Yeah.
And the next test, they're supposed to come and bring the same Japanese guy, a technician, and some more Japanese tires. And I
Oh.
did hear again from whatever source is, I don't know how much of it's credible, is that the super sport bikes will be on Japanese rears possibly.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I think some of the Japanese stuff was pretty good. I know Dunlop has an R4 tire, which is pretty amazing, but they don't have enough of it manufacturing wise because they didn't have a plant closure, right?
Yeah.
For us to use those in Motor America, but they've been running them at Chuckwalla.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're pretty incredible tire rear. I do believe that was the WOW tire that we had last year or the year before we tested. We had
Okay.
one tire that was like amazing, but they never seemed to produce it for Motor America for whatever reason.
R4,
I think
huh?
it was R4. Yeah, it was called a 118. I think when it was just some spec, and then they made an R4, but they haven't. There's no plan to put it in Motor America. I think they'll break some track records with it.
So I got some more R9 questions as well from multiple
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So Jamie Doherty has a question. Aaron Dearborn has a question. Brian Green has a question about the R9. Everybody has questions about the R9. So I'll just start with
Yeah, go for it.
Jamie's question is the R9 an upgrade from the R6? I'm struggling on that one. Aaron says he says the R9 swing arm looks a little, quote, cheap and not as beefy as any recent middleweights. Any thoughts on if Supersport will need/allow a modified swing arm? And then Brian's question on the R9 was, how much development is Attack planning on doing with the R9 since your main focus is Superbike? And go.
Yeah, I mean, we will do development as things go, like any other motorcycle, same as the R6. We'll be doing engine work for Strat guys or whoever wants it. The thing with that particular program is it's pretty spec. And so
Yeah.
the R6, you had an open cylinder head rule, at least you did last year. Now the head is more spec. So in racing, you can't, at least in our series, you can't really do a whole lot with a motorcycle other than what the spec allows, which may be camshafts, maybe pistons, maybe something, to bring it up to speed with the Ducati and make them all relevant to each other. So with regard to the R6, I mean, the R6, it's a race only bike now.
Right.
It's still a really good motorcycle. I think I don't want to talk for Yamaha as far as their sales tactics, but the R9 is a lower price bike, right?
Okay.
The price point. So they're gone with a bigger bore, lower price point to make a motorcycle so they can sell it.
Right.
So it's so that's all it's about is the price point. They've gone full circle to really expensive high-tech bikes to relatively inexpensive motorcycles again, trying to get more consumers out there.
Right.
So will it be as far as as well handling as the R6 and do the same job? Yeah, I think it'll get there, no problem. I think it'll be competitive.
Yeah. And the other comments, is it an upgrade and about the swing arm being quote unquote cheap?
Yeah,
The
swing arms like
internet
yeah,
says,
the
right?
swing arms like a lot like the Tracer. So I do believe one of the upgrades would be a Tracer swing arm for that thing. It's a little bit longer.
Okay.
So I do believe that the guys who tested in Europe said that Tracer swing arm was really good on that bike.
Huh.
Cheap wise, I mean, I don't know. The swing arm, as long as it's rigid enough to do the job and it gives you good feel, you'll have a linkage option and all those things. I think it'll be fine.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
not
it
a super bike.
doesn't seem like doesn't seem like it needs like a super bike swing arm.
No, it doesn't
And
need
it
a super
didn't
bike swing arm.
also like in person, seeing it up close and touching it, it didn't look like a cheap swing arm.
No, it's like I said, it's something I think that'll do the job. But you got to think about what the class that motorcycle is.
Mm,
It's going to be racing super sport against the Ducati and the GSXR and
right.
whatever else, Triumph or something like that. So that's what the racing part of it is. And as far as the street
Yeah.
side, it's supposed to be a fun motorcycle to ride. It's got plenty of torque,
Right.
and it has good forks, good brakes, has a good shock on it. And so as far as street bike goes, I think it's going to be a great motorcycle for a fun motorcycle to have. Probably
Yeah.
more comfortable than the R6 as far as street bike goes.
Wow.
Race bike wise, I think it'll get around like the R6 as far as
Yeah.
front feel and all that stuff.
Dude, Matt basically was saying that everybody's in trouble.
Matt Scults,
Yeah.
he's coming off championship.
He's really motivated, dude. That guy
Yeah,
wants
he's
to
think
smash everybody, and it's really
yeah.
impressive.
Well, and he should, because he's a Superbike winner.
Yeah.
He's a past class champion.
Yeah.
So you take a guy like that who can run up front on a Superbike, who knows how to turn a bike, and you put him in that class. Of course, he should be winning.
Right.
There's no reason why he shouldn't be winning. I mean, he was racing some guys that weren't Superbike winners.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, PJ was.
Right.
So PJ was only competition because he was another guy who was a Superbike guy.
Yeah.
So you look at that and you go, okay, yeah, those two guys should be. I mean, logically, they should be racing up front.
Yeah, I mean, PJ and that guy definitely should be at the front, right? I mean,
Yeah. Who else in the class that's won a Superbike race?
in that class? Well, I mean, if Hayes comes back, I guess him.
Hayes. Yeah, Hayes. He should be running up front too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that guy was at Podium Club last weekend coaching some guy on a stock R1M.
Yeah, he came by the shop, poked around here a little bit, looked at the bikes when they were getting assembled, and he still has that fire in his belly for whatever reason.
Yeah.
He's got a nuclear fire belly. He never dies.
Yeah.
He wants to ride still. He was a little upset we didn't put him on the Superbike, I do believe, and put Chavi on instead. I explained to him. The reasons. Yeah, he'll get over it. But he's a good dude. He's a good dude, and I think he'll have fun racing that class.
Yeah, Cody Krager points out that Corey Alexander in that class has podiumed in Superbike.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but he hasn't won a race.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
he was competitive. He was competitive. Yeah. So again, if you've been in the Superbike class and you're running up front and you can get on the podium, then yeah, I mean, you have every chance to run up front in Super Sport, and you should. No reason why you shouldn't.
Yeah,
it's more of a rider class.
Yeah, buy a jet from Steve Main. He sponsors the Altus class. He points out Jake Lewis.
Yeah, was he on the Superbike?
Did he win a Superbike race?
I don't think he's ever won one.
I don't think he won.
I have to go back my memory. So I don't know if he's been on the podium.
Maybe.
Was he on the podium before?
I think so. I have to check.
I don't know. I'm having a hard time remembering.
Greg White knows.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, he rode the Yosh bike, and then he was off for a bit, and then he came back in, and then he rode super stock bikes. Can't think of when he would have done that.
Right.
Yeah, I think that was.
But Motor America.
I know Wyman got on the box at Road America.
Right.
So I remember that, but don't remember Lewis. Maybe.
I don't remember Jake getting on the box either. He might have. Maybe. You know, we got to check our history books on that one, dude.
Yeah,
Right?
he's a good rider. He's going to do
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, he's a good dude. You
I
know.
mean, he
Yeah,
won.
like
He
I was
won
saying,
at.
the Motor America Superbike and Super Sport classes look, they're gonna keep being stacked. I mean,
Yeah, no, I think it'll be a good series next year without a doubt. Both classes. It'll be interesting to see how the R9 does against the Ducati and the Suzuki. I think those are the main
yeah,
competitors. I don't know, maybe bringing a Triumph out. What other bikes are there? The MV,
yeah,
right?
that MV thing, and I think there's the
Yeah.
Cowie still, right? Is
Oh
the
yeah.
Cowie?
Is he coming out with that thing? The 636?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's the only real next gen bike. I'm sure there'll be a few guys. The R6 is still a really great motorcycle.
Right.
Obviously, he won a championship last year. I do believe the track bike's for sale, by the way. If anybody's interested in that thing,
Oh yeah,
the championship winning R6. Yeah,
that could be a really great bike for some club dude that's fast,
yeah, it's fast.
right?
It's fast. A lot of guys are
Right.
complaining about its speed, but it's a good motorcycle. So maybe those guys maybe somebody wants it.
Yeah, I
It
spoke
has
a
a lot
little
of
bit with Peter Strack, and you know, he's got an interesting story. You know, the guy is super into racing, and you know, he club raced himself, and you know, this whole Strack Racing program. He changed the name of his team to elevate the professionalism of his team. It's pretty cool.
what
You
was the
know,
name of his team again?
Squid Hunter.
Oh yeah, Squid Hunter. Yeah, yeah. I think track racing is more professional sounding.
Yeah. So there's one rumor that somebody's talking about. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you've heard? Who's might be going where, and who might be
Yeah,
joining?
sure.
I mean, I know, didn't Freddie build a Superbike? Like,
Yeah, Freddie built a bike, and I do believe who the heck's riding that thing? It's
Ben?
Ben. Yeah, Ben Smith,
Yeah.
and Cameron Peterson was here grabbing some stuff,
Okay.
leathers and helmet and stuff, and he's riding. He told Joseph he's riding the HSBK bike in Supersport.
Oh, wow. So that's
So
the
they're gonna,
V2 that this Cody Krager's talking about.
yeah. So
Okay.
he's riding that. Uh, um, Obviously, we know what the Strat guys are doing. The Altus guys, I think Jake Lewis is back with those guys. I'm not sure 100%
Right.
on the bike and stuff. I did hear maybe a couple R9s, a couple Suzuki's, and so
Right.
they might have four guys in there. And
And Top Pro is going to stick with SDK.
SDKs with Top Pro. I don't know if they're going to have another motorcycle.
Dude, he
Uh,
said, like Alex, I had him on the Weekend Hangover with Ricky Bobby, and Alex told us that he's basically like a one bike program now.
oh, really?
Well, the thing is, like I mean, dude, they had bikes in every class, right? They had
Yeah, they did.
they had like a Twins Cup bike, Junior Cup.
So they're going to only have one Superbike? That's
I
too
think
bad.
so. Yeah.
They should put another guy there. I thought one of the owners or one of the sponsors had a bike too.
Oh yeah, he rides too. Yeah.
Yeah, so
But the
they'll have two
main,
bikes
like I
basically.
think he's doing Stock 1000 maybe, or Superbike Cup. I'm not really sure what Alex is doing, but
Okay.
you know, it seems like the main focus is SDK. You know,
Yeah,
they
no, I think he's going to be tough to beat. Honestly, I think he had the first year. I was very impressive. Uh, we were talking to him a bit, or Tom or Yamaha was talking to him a bit about our program. But at the end, I think they decided they're going to stay with the group they have, which is
yeah,
fine. I think he wants to capitalize on that, which is cool.
right.
And then you have, as far as BMWs, you have Cameron Bobier. I do believe he's going back to, he's going to stay where he's at.
Are they gonna have they're
And
gonna continue with the two rider team, or are they gonna just
I,
have
I don't,
one?
I don't know. JD's out from there, and I
Okay,
think JD's going to ride the Honda with
right.
Gillum.
Okay.
So I think those guys are going to be more superbike oriented. I
Oh,
don't know if
really?
it's JD or Gillum, but yeah, they're talking to we're talking to Mark Young, and
Yeah.
it's more of a superbike program with proper forks and calipers and things like that. So I don't know if I'm blowing anybody's deals up by announcing for them in advance, but this
We're
is just
not.
all
We're
the
just
stuff.
talking about what we heard, man.
Yeah, this is all just
It's all
rumor
paddock
mill.
rumor. I heard some guy tell me that Bobier is going to be teammates with Heron on a Ducati. right?
Yeah, I heard
So,
that too. Yeah, I heard that from you. So this could be the circular argument.
well, you could just say right now we heard it from Chris McGuire from CT Racing.
Yeah, well, I
He
heard
says
from
that's the rumor he's starting. So I got to
yeah,
give
well, I
credit where
heard
credit's due.
yeah, 53 intelligence agencies said Bobby is working for the Russians.
That too. Yeah, yeah,
circular
yeah, and
circular firing squad.
yeah. This is an interesting question for you, man. We've talked about this before with other riders on the team. Alan Rodriguez wants to know if he wants you to tell us if Bobby's will be the number one rider on the team.
We don't have any number one riders. I don't know
There
why
you
people
go.
say we have zero number one riders. The
Right,
number one rider is the guy at the top of the box for that weekend.
right.
He's the number one rider, and the next weekend it could be the other guy.
And the
No,
bikes, again, Alan, just to go there with you, the bikes are the exact same bikes, right? With the exception of individual rider settings,
yes,
right?
the exact same motorcycles. There is one untruth to that. We had a new engine that we tested at New
Oh yeah.
Jersey with Peterson,
Okay.
and he really liked it, and it was happened to be in the bike, and wasn't timed out. So Bobby rode that engine pretty much, and it's just a tick faster than the one that Jake was on.
Okay.
And Jake hopped on it for a session and said, "Yeah, I could feel a little more pep in it." So it's the next version of engines, that we're going to be running, and there might be a couple more mods before we even show up to the first race at Barber.
Very polite and political answer, Richard, is what Anthony Miller says.
Which part?
I don't know. Like
I'm not polite. I'm not political.
there you go.
That's all there is to it.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, it's cool. So
speaking of political and polite, Heron's staying on HSBK, I do believe, since he has a number one plate.
yeah, I mean, the dude. I wonder if he's going to rock the number one plate or keep the number two.
He has to.
Oh, he has to run the one plate.
Okay. Yeah, it's part of the rules.
Okay.
No, it's part of the rules. He has to run it. Yeah, which is I think against some of the stuff he said, because he likes keeping that number two for his image,
Well, I mean, like what Jake did, he just put 32 in the number one, so.
Yeah, I don't think Jake cares about all that stuff.
No, that's one thing for sure. That dude doesn't give a shit about anything but going fast on a motorbike, seems like.
Yeah. No, he's pretty chill about all that stuff. He's not the social media guy. He's out stunting on the motorcycle and look at me photos and all those kinds of things. And I think he's just about the results.
Right.
That's what I think last year was. He's not a super open guy with his emotions and feelings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I could tell from the outside looking in, he was not having a good time last year.
Right.
So he's for just frustrated with his performance and his hand and all that stuff. You can see it. He was really frustrated. So I do believe I'll give him some fire this year, going into this next season. But we'll find out next few tests.
Well, yeah. I mean, both guys really just have to be healthy and bring the fire, right?
Yeah.
And we found out last season in racing, anything can happen.
Yeah, Bobby seems to be a bit of a pit bull. Like he throws himself on the ground and gets up and brushes himself off, is ready for the next session. So I don't think we're going to be, knock on wood, and I don't think we're going to be worried too much about Bobby's health.
No. Yeah, he spends a bunch of time training too, and I got to scumbag that guy into bicycling. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I was teasing him a bit about his winter weight. I said, dude,
like why are you so chubby?
Yeah, something like that. He said it's the suit. They make the suit kind of round and arrow. I go, okay, what might be inside might be a bit round.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to have him on the team. I think it'll. Yeah. I think it'll bring a new kind of energy to the program.
Oh, he's definitely on the limiter, and then he was back in the back of the truck, pushing the cappuccino machine. It's like the espresso.
Yeah.
Him and Skoltz. Where's the coffee?
Yeah.
Midday coffee. Yeah, I think he's definitely got a shitload of energy.
So I want to talk a little bit of what the TrackDaz program is doing for 2025. We just kind of released the schedule. We've got a bunch of dates on the schedule. Everybody asked for more weekends, so ask and you shall receive. Bunch of weekends. Ask for track variety. We're giving you a track variety. We got 2 weekends at Podium Club. We got a couple of days at Laguna Seca at 103 decibels. And then we got new track and old track at Buttonwillow, which should be cool.
Wow.
And we're going to do
Laguna Podium Club and the new track at Buttonwillow and the old track at Buttonwillow. Holy crap.
Yes.
You guys are going to have you have a whole race series.
Well, I mean, I think depending on how things work out, I think I may be missing the Laguna event to go hang out with you guys at whatever weekend, but Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, so you're gonna have the track day without you? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like I'll have my crew run it. My wife will run it without me, so I can go hang out with you idiots, right? So good times.
Idiots. You call the boss an idiot? I can't fire you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. You're gonna dock my pay.
Well, you're a sponsor of the team, so I guess no.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. So so we're doing this new membership thing. So previous years, for several years actually, we've done this ticket pack thing, and truthfully, man, it just wasn't working out for me. The business wasn't where it needs to be to support that ticket pack thing. So I figured, I talked to you a lot about this, and you're like, oh, something's not working, just change it and see how that goes. So I did, and we're doing this membership thing now. So I've, R3, R9, and R1 levels of membership along with a VIP thing. And so the R3, R9, R1 are various levels of discount for every event. So like if you
what happened to the R7?
Yeah, we got the VIP. So yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot. It's a lot of plus the R9 is like the new bike, like whatever.
Yeah.
The R3 is new as well, if I'm not mistaken. And so different levels, and it seems like it's going to work out. Now there's a couple of people that were a little less than stoked with that news, but part of that I think is they were kind of abusing the ticket packs that we had before. It just became a pain in the ass. I mean, there were people that wouldn't use them at the end of the year, and they were asking to carry them over, which is like, what? And there was people that would register for track days and actually sell their tickets and make a profit off of them. And I'm like, dude, how are you making a profit and I'm not making a profit? Like, what's going on here? So, like I said before, definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So we shifted gears and changed something, and we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, that's what that rule book. Everyone's always looking for a little way to get around everything.
Yeah, somebody says, and this is why we can't have nice things. No, I think it's cool. And, I got Caleb DeCarroll working on a bunch of merch for us, for those member people. So, I mean, the higher level memberships, I mean, you're going to get a pitch shirt, like a TrackDaz pitch shirt with your name on it, stuff like windscreen stickers with your name on it, ball caps, like T-shirts, all kinds of merchy stuff. So
that's cool. So the membership thing sounds pretty cool. It's kind of like these tracks, right? Where they have a membership, and you can go to the track anytime the member day is open.
Yeah, it's weird. I just started talking about memberships, and our viewers went up. That's kind of fun.
Okay.
I was like, wow, we went from like $8,000 to $10,000. That's interesting.
Nice.
Yeah. So like as we've been talking, like the viewership's gone up. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. So Anthony Miller says Bobby's an incredible rider and an awesome person. We miss him already, and we're excited that he was able to achieve his goals and be part of your team.
Yeah, he was super grateful, super happy. When I gave him the news, he was just like over the top,
Yeah.
And I just told him, but Yamaha will be calling him type thing,
Yeah.
And he was just riding me like crazy over the off season. Every other day, he was sending me a message, hey man, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And anyway, so
me too.
The thing that impressed me the most was that he never gave up in those races. He might get a bad start, and he just kept coming.
Right.
and then at the end of the race, he's right there, like going, fighting for a podium position. So I like that about it. He wasn't comfortable with wherever he was at. He was always pushing forward.
Yeah, he seems really hungry, man. Like that dude is motivated, wants to smash everybody. Like I was saying with Matt Skoltz, right?
Yeah.
Like Bobby wants to go and just ruin everybody. Like it's pretty cool to have that guy with a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, we're going to give him every opportunity to do so, and he has an incredible teammate. So it's going to be really good to be able to put both guys next to each other and see, who excels in what areas and help both guys go a little faster. It'll raise up both guys.
Yeah. So ED also wants to know if we got our 2025 Yamalube allotment of brake cleaner yet. Because he can't wait. What's that about?
Oh, it's an inside joke.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
way to air the dirty laundry on YouTube, buddy.
Yeah. So you've heard of waterboarding, right?
Oh shit. Okay.
So on this team, we use contact cleaner boarding.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And mainly on Ed.
Mainly on Ed. Okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
The bike doesn't look good.
Oh yeah.
He gets the full treatment.
Tim P wants to know if you think that Cam P will ride the ride Bobby was on. I don't think so. I've heard that. No, he's going to do that V2 thing with
he told Joseph. I mean, this is Joseph telling me, but I'm pretty sure it's accurate that he's going to be riding for HSBK. And then they went out. Whoever was commenting on the bagger deal.
Oh, okay.
He went out and rode the bagger bike, tested that also.
Oh,
and
wow.
I also heard that Baz rode the bagger also. Tested the bagger. So there might be some bagger step up as well with some of these little better level riders. What's that?
Right? The baggers pay big money, right? Like, I mean,
well, there's two factories, which is Indian and Harley. So I suppose if you get onto one of those rides, then you probably get a decent salary.
But this year, Bobby's not going to ride bagger. He's 100% factory Yamaha Superbike rider, right?
Yes, he'll be focusing on Superbike.
Right.
I asked him. I said, "Are you going to be?" That was a funny thing too, because he was working with the leathers and all that stuff, right? Doing rider support.
Yeah.
And he came in the truck. I said, "Yeah, Jake's leathers are over there. They need to be cleaned up, and his boots are right in that area right there." And he just said, like, "Yeah, whatever."
Right. Yeah, I don't think he's doing that this year either.
Like, no, he's like, "No, I'm focusing on Superbike." I said, "Yeah, good.
Dude wants to win.
Good choice. Good choice. Let's focus on Superbike."
Yeah.
That's
and then we didn't really touch on it, but do you got any info like what Jake did to fix the arm? Did he fly to Europe and get that done, or
no? Same doctor that he was same doctor he was doing the work with, but apparently he was just back on the bike a little too soon, and then they did some orthoscopic stuff to come in and clean up some of the scar tissue from the previous surgery. So the scar tissue, I think, was pushing on a nerve, making his hand go numb.
It was like switching his hand off.
Crazy. Yeah, like the hand was like not functional. Like can't feel the brake, can't feel the throttle, all that stuff.
It's like a dead fish.
Well, that's why we had to finally pull the trigger and tell him, "Hey, man, it's getting kind of dangerous. Yeah. We don't want to kill anybody. This is motorcycle racing,
and including himself, right?
Yeah, well, exactly, mainly himself. Yeah, but apparently the surgery was good. I heard he was riding his motocross bike. I didn't talk to him too much about it because we're focusing kind of on the test. And everything's good so far. We'll just see how it progresses as we get closer to the race season.
Mike C wants to know if Sarah gets a scooter this year.
She always rides our scooters. We have 3 of them.
Right.
We don't have a lot of room in our truck.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the reality. Yeah.
Yeah. So we bring the 3, one for the team, one for each rider.
There you go.
So she usually bags one and takes off somewhere.
Yeah. Water on Fire has more there are kind of negative comments about Jake, and he says Jake is screwed. Let's go, Bobby. Same doctor who did it wrong 6th time. Good idea, dude. I don't think it's the same doctor that did this.
No, it's not the same doctor. It's not the same
Yeah.
doctor. So water on fire, yeah, it should be water under. Should be fire underwater.
Fire underwater. Okay, like a
Yeah, you
torpedo.
could change that. Yeah, something.
Okay. And
Yeah, no,
what are your thoughts on?
he's confused, but yeah, keep the negative comments coming. I'm sure it'll motivate Jake more.
Right. And are there any thoughts on the season starting at Barber?
No, I don't care. Wherever,
Right
whatever.
on.
Was it going to rain? Is it going to be cold? I mean, that's what we're there for. It doesn't matter.
That's what we're there for. Rain and cold. Sweet.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Where did we start last year? I don't remember.
Road Atlanta.
Oh, Road Atlanta, right.
Right.
Yeah, so Barber, then Road Atlanta. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's fine.
Right.
Road Atlanta, Barber's usually a good track for us, so it might give us a little bit of a placebo bump, you know.
Yeah.
But Road Atlanta was always a pretty good track for us too. So it'd be nice to start the season in both those places, and maybe we get a little momentum. We'll see how it goes.
Right on. Right on. Yeah, and I guess I guess that's it then. I just a heads up, I plan on talking to Bobby on the show on Friday. So we're going to talk about his whole excitement of joining the team and all that. So, make sure everybody tunes in for that. I'll confirm with Bobby tomorrow what time on Friday. It's weird to have one on Friday, but these fucking rock stars, like the rock stars. Right?
Yeah, it'll be fine though.
He's kind of busy right now anyway. So
yeah, it'll be on YouTube. They can watch it later.
yeah. Well, thank you guys all for watching this thing, and mash all the buttons and subscribe and share and like and all comment and all that. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. When's the next? We're testing next month again, right?
January, yeah, towards the end.
Okay.
And then remember, we're talking about going to Button Willow 2, but we may not do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pending.
Yeah. So we may do something a little bit before this next, like the week before. I'm trying to figure it out, but we need to put one more test in there.
Yeah.
I'd like to get 4 in before the first race.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll see, and then a couple mid-season. We need to push hard this season. That's why we're not doing Daytona. We're going to need to push hard on the Superbike and not be distracted, because we have some catch-up work to do.
Yeah, the Daytona thing is a big distraction because it's like building a whole new motorcycle. So
no, but
race.
We have an R6 that's ready to go, basically, with quick change stuff. But it's just the whole trip. You say, oh, it's only going to take a week, but it really takes a week on this end and a couple of days on the other end, and a week while you're there. And so by the time you're all done, you've almost burned a month, and we just don't have
right.
it. Yeah.
Well, cool. Catch you on the next one, Richard. Go back to work or whatever it is that you do over there.
Yeah, home.
Change the fork seal on that chair.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, man.
Later. Cool.